What started as a dream vacation turned into a passport panic attack at the gate. You packed your bags, printed your boarding pass, triple-checked your toothbrush, and then bam, denied at boarding. Why? Your passport was still valid for 5 more months. That's right, 5 months of validity, and still you weren't allowed to fly. Seems ridiculous, right? Well, what if I told you it's not only real, it's happening more often than you think? You see, many countries and airlines have quietly slipped in a rule that your passport must be valid for at least 6 more months from your travel date, even if you're just flying to Europe or from one EU country to another. And if you're flying to the United States, things are just as strict, maybe even stricter. The US requires most foreign travelers to have a passport that's valid for at least 6 months beyond their planned stay. So even if you're only visiting for a week, if your passport expires 5 months and 29 days later, you're not getting in. Some countries do have exceptions thanks to special agreements, but don't count on it. Airlines often won't take the risk and may still deny boarding. No warning, no refund, just tears, confusion, and a very expensive Uber back home. And if you're thinking, well, the airline would tell me, right? Nope, not always. Sometimes they only realize it when you're standing at the gate, boarding group number called, suitcase in hand, only to be publicly rejected like a bad Tinder date. And here's where it gets even better. You might successfully fly out to your destination, but on the way back, airport security in another country takes one look and says, "Sir, you're not coming home." I mean, imagine being stranded in Lisbon because your passport didn't age like fine wine. That's not a vacation, that's a Netflix miniseries. But that's just the beginning. If you thought passport rules were tricky, wait until we dive into the rule changes around hand luggage, priority boarding, and sudden gate charges. You'll be shocked at how many travelers are getting blindsided at the very last moment. And maybe you already were one of them. But first, let's talk about you. Because if you've ever paid for a seat and then got moved, been told your bag is too big despite flying with it 10 times before, had a power bank confiscated like it was a weapon, or been yelled at by an angry gate agent named Karen, sorry to all the good Karens out there, then this video is going to hit very close to home. What I tell you next will blow your mind. Let's talk handbag drama. You know how some airlines let you bring a personal item in a carry-on? Well, lately, that personal item is getting treated like contraband. We're talking laptop bags, small purses, duty-free bags, even that adorable neck pillow your grandma gave you. Suddenly that's 2 items, ma'am. You'll need to check one for $55. And it's not just the rule, it's the attitude. The gate agent stares at your innocent tote bag like it's smuggling state secrets. You try to explain, it fits under the seat, I swear. But they've already slapped on the baggage tag of doom. Then there's the gate performance art. People stuffing a week's worth of holiday clothes into their coat pockets. Watching someone put on 6 layers of clothing to dodge a fee is both tragic and heroic. Scarves become makeshift cargo nets. Hats are stacked like a Dr. Seuss character. Somewhere in the chaos, a flip-flop falls to the floor, unclaimed, like a tiny fallen soldier in the war on luggage. Meanwhile, inside the departure lounge, duty-free shoppers are cradling bags like newborns, praying no one notices. After all, in this new travel reality, your personal item is basically public enemy number 1. But wait, there's more. Ever had your power bank taken away at the last second? Not because it's dangerous, not because it's sparking or humming, but because it doesn't have a visible MR rating on it? Yep. If your power bank doesn't clearly show how many milliamp hours it holds, security might assume it's over the legal limit, and straight into the confiscation bin it goes. And let me tell you, there's no point trying to explain that it's the same one you've flown with 10 times before. They'll tilt their head, give you the smile that says, "I've heard this before," and hold out their hand like a teacher waiting for you to surrender a banned fidget spinner. You think, fine, I'll just peel off the sticker, maybe it's underneath. But nope, that sticker was probably removed during the last heat wave in your car. Suddenly you're standing there, in your socks, at 5:43 in the morning, debating battery chemistry with someone who's already called for a supervisor. And trust me, starting your holiday with a discussion about lithium-ion is not the airport vibe you were hoping for. And don't get me started on boarding pass blackmail. You booked the flight, you picked your seat. You even paid extra for that precious spot with a hint of legroom and a power outlet that may or may not work. You did everything right. And then, at the gate, "Sorry, we had to reassign your seat." They move you. No reason, no refund, no legroom. One minute you're in 12A by the window, the next you're in 32B, the middle seat in the row that doesn't recline, directly across from the lavatory. How does this happen? Officially, airlines say it's due to aircraft changes, meaning your original plane got swapped for a different model and the seat map got scrambled. Or they'll claim operational requirements like balancing the plane's weight, accommodating crew members, or rebooking connecting passengers who really needed your seat. Sometimes, someone with elite status blinks in your direction and suddenly you are the sacrifice. And what do they do to make it right? A polite smile, maybe a voucher for $5 off airport coffee. If you're lucky, you're now next to a toddler armed with a kazoo, a juice box, and the bladder control of a nervous squirrel. But hey, at least you got through security, right? Wrong. Remember that water bottle you bought after security? The fancy airport water that costs more than gas? Well, if you're transiting through another country, they might take it anyway, because the rules on liquids change between airports. So yes, your $450 water just got dumped again. And here's one that's especially cruel: unexpected gate fees. Some airlines, yes, I'm looking directly at you, low-cost carriers, have perfected the art of the last-minute ambush. You stroll up to the gate, confident your bag fits, because it did on the last 3 flights. But today, suddenly, it's, "Ma'am, could you place your bag in the size checker?" And wouldn't you know it, the wheels are sticking out by half a centimetre. Boom, that's $70 right there, payable immediately, like some kind of boarding tax, no warning. No discussion, just a cheerful, "Oops, our policy changed last week." Look, I get it, flying is already stressful. The packing, the lines, the kid behind you kicking your seat for 8 hours straight. You shouldn't have to decode cryptic airline rules like you're reading ancient scrolls just to board a plane. But here's the good news. Now you know, and knowledge is power, and power gets you on that plane drama-free. So what can you do to avoid this chaos? Check your passport's expiration date right now. If it's within 6 months, renew it, even if it feels early. Weigh and measure your bag at home, because that 1 centimetre can cost you $50. Label your power bank clearly and keep it in your hand luggage. Print your boarding pass and check in online. Some airlines charge extra just for checking in at the airport. And finally, bring snacks, because delays are inevitable and airplane pretzels are a joke. Because if there's one thing we've learned from modern air travel, it's this: anything that can be charged extra probably will be. If you've ever felt the chaos of unexpected gate drama, you're not alone. Drop your worst airport experience in the comments, we read them all. Safe travels, and don't forget that passport.